All right, so here's some differences between the 74 full-top convertible trucks and the newer ones. Of course, they changed in the 70s too. There's little differences here and there. But if you're doing a conversion, you can see in here, hopefully, there is a bracket right here that extends down the window. It's welded to the window track. I don't know if you can see it up there. It extends down into the rear window track. Probably shitty view out of light. But that's so they have support on the glass when the window's up. Of course, for a real Blazer, you got things like this. All these holes are wrong. That's for newer door panels. Along with, obviously the top has to be cut. And this screw was added because newer trucks don't use them, but the earlier ones do. It helps support the window a little bit, which supports the top of the door a little bit from moving as much. I mean, it still moves, don't get me wrong, but that's what's supposed to be there. So it helps the vent window. Also, the vent windows are slightly different throughout different years. One difference being the thickness of the glass. I don't know if you can see from my finger, this glass is like twice the thickness of newer glass from the 80s. If you have the newer glass, it will not seal against the hardtop. This barely seals. It's just the way these are. The weather strips are so barely workable. Of course, if you don't care about a hardtop, then you don't have to worry about changing your vent window. And you don't have to worry about changing the glass. So, another thing is, the rear window track is different. So normally they bolt up here, this would be longer, and it would bolt over here. But 74 ones bolt down here. There's also this thing here that everyone thinks is just to hold the fiberglass cap for the weather strip, but it's not. This one's not welded in yet. But this one actually welds to the door here and here and in here. But if you look carefully, it actually goes forward right into here. That's what supports your door handle pulling, so you're not bending the door. When all this is welded in, this stays tight. And then these tabs are on all convertibles for flex, so that it keeps the door from hitting the door jamb. So there's a piece there. And then on the truck, you'll have the brass piece that goes with it. Where's it here? So they just barely touch each other when you close the door. So those are the main differences in the doors. Also, another difference between a true 74 type door, not that it matters for conversions, but this lip here is not like that on new doors. I mean, in the old doors. So true 74 doors, it's all going to be a folded lip like this one, the whole way down. I don't know when they started doing this or why. I think it gives them a little more strength in the front. But there's some of the differences. And some of the parts you really need. So you really need the vent windows. Although I did take an 85 once and switched just this part of the vent window, because they had mint gaskets. So it was actually a curved top one. And I used just this part of the vent window off the 74. But you do really, to do it right, you need the glass, you need the track, you need that piece inside the door, the little tabs that shut in the door. And if you're for a restoration freak, the door handles are actually different because behind the handle here in most trucks, there's a dent like this. 74 is rounded. It doesn't have that. I don't know what year they changed on those. That's just another little difference. Again, doesn't matter for just making convertibles. And you don't need the boxes. They're not necessary. Done a bunch of them. Don't need to put convertible boxes. I mean, I did them on this truck because I just wanted to look original. I made boxes that mimic the originals somewhat. I just wanted to look like the factory built it. But they're not necessary. Unless you're going crazy off-road, but then you need a cage anyway.